I find that I often become bored with my Minecraft worlds. Playing for a month or two, getting all the best gear, building the same house before, I give up, and I restart in a brand new world, over and over. So, to try and solve this and challenge myself, I will be surviving an entire year on one Minecraft world, slowly updating the game as the year progresses. For the first 2 weeks of March, I'll be playing the 1.3 update, which added desert and jungle pyramids, trading, ender chests, and also improved the enchanting system. Week 1. Last month, I left off working on a giant skyscraper up to the then new 256 block build limit, so I'm going to finish that. I got a little bit done, but I ran out of wood and smooth stone, so I had to take a break to do some grinding. I went over to my XP farm in the ravine town because I wanted to see how good the updated enchanting system was, and I'm glad to say I really appreciate the change. You now get enchantments that would have been like level 45 for only 30 levels, which is a much bigger difference than it sounds like. I farmed some trees in my grove and spent some time in the mines collecting cobblestone. After I was finished, I constructed a bridge to connect the skyscraper house to my tiny little castle, because that's where all my storage is, and I was tired of running up and down the mountain over and over. It's pretty bare bones, but it serves its purpose well, and plus, the bridge looks really cool in the skyline. Now that was done, I continued working on the skyscraper, but I kept dying, like, a lot. So I had to change up the strategy and go floor by floor instead of piece by piece. I don't know if it's slower or faster necessarily, but it prevents me from dying. Mostly. I've still got a ways to go, but I'm happy with the progress I've made. Plus, I need a new pick and more cobble, so I don't really have a choice. I think I could use a trim or something on the outside. It's super bland and flat looking, especially compared to the banger of a house underneath it. I mean, man, I'm proud of that. I really love that nether brick roof and the way it's all put together. But I needed to grind, so I ground. I did the usual. Cleared trees, mined cobble, got some new tools to replace the old ones, and after not too long, I was back to work. Wait, that's it. That is build limit. I did it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the top of the world. It's very lonely up here. Very dark. I don't know what I'm going to do with the very top, so I just left it alone for now. Time to jump down I don't even know how many floors. I added a spruce trim to each of the floors on the outside, and then made a basement. It's got some storage, furnaces, and beds, all of which I'll probably never use. Ever. It's just here to look pretty, and I think it does it pretty well. The house is super detailed, and I'm super proud of it, but the tower kinda doesn't fit, like, at all. It's very samey, and the floors are currently empty. I might add things to them as the year goes on, or maybe not. Who knows? For now, at least, it's finished. Week 2. I farmed some sugarcane while I thought about what to do next. Maybe I should build a barn for the cows, or maybe a town for my desert pyramid. Or maybe it's something above the ravine town other than just a little shack. I can't decide yet. While I was farming, I found a tiny cave entrance under the water, which I hadn't noticed before. Thinking it would just be a small cave, I went in to look for some coal or maybe get some iron, but then I kept exploring it, and it led deeper, and deeper, and deeper. There's a giant cave system that had been under my nose this entire time. I knew I'd bitten off more than I could chew with this one. I wasn't prepared to go mining and my inventory was already clogged. But the allure of those sweet, sweet Minecraft diamonds kept me from leaving. I stumbled upon a mob party and I was just watching them kind of exist when suddenly I got forcefully pushed into the mosh pit and chaos ensued. Somehow, by sheer luck, I survived. Never mind. I think all my stuff got blown up by the second creeper too. It really sucks. I was considering just leaving everything because I was pretty sure that all my stuff had exploded, but I decided I'd go back and check just in case. And I'm glad I did, because almost everything was still here. Lost my shovel and some resources, but I came out pretty much unscathed. I still had my tools and my 10 diamonds. Not too bad. I got back to base safely and then used 8 gold blocks to craft myself a notch apple. I want to make as many of these as I can before they become uncraftable, and here's number 1. Afterwards, I went over to the desert right outside the walls and set up a music disc trap. 4 pistons around a pressure plate with a block on top. It's an ancient design, but it works perfectly, notwithstanding the occasional operator error. While I waited for nightfall, I got some things ready to build a barn for the pigs and the cows. They finally get an upgrade from the square fence, even though I exclusively survive off bread, and I don't really need them. Once night hit, I went out to use the traps. I got one, but then some operator error happened, and everything blew up. Twice, and my helmet broke. I guess it's my sign to go home. The next morning, I got to work on the barn. I took a risk with this one and tried to use birch for the roof, and surprisingly, I like the way it turned out. I'm a firm believer in birch hating, but maybe my mind will be changed. Big maybe though. Side note, the way the wood logs rotate in this version is like super annoying. They're placed like pistons, so you actually have to position your character in the direction of the log instead of just placing it off the block behind it. It's not that big of a deal, but it's kind of frustrating. I got all the animals wrinkled in just to be reminded that they can still phase through fences. Awesome. I'm just going to ignore it for now and hope that it gets updated soon. It's good enough for now, and at least it's not a poverty pit. I spent some time making paths around my base, up the mountain, around the sheep farm, and over to the barn. Then I made a storage shack for the rainbow sheep so I can easily harvest them whenever I come over here. When night came, I collected some more music discs using my patented method. Introducing the Rexstang music disc method. Step 1. Lure a skeleton into Trap A. Step 2. Place blocks around him so he doesn't become a nuisance. Step 3. Now that you have your turret in place, lure a creeper into Trap B. Step 4. Hit a creeper with 1 critical hit and 1 normal diamond sword blow. Step 5. Stand behind the creeper and let the skeleton finish him off. Repeat steps 2 through 5 until the night ends or something blows up. And hooray! You are now the proud owner of a CD that came out of a creeper's ass. Feel free to play it in a jukebox for some sweet tunes. Once morning came, I did some chores and then went back into the sugarcane cave to go mining. I'm low on cobble, coal, diamonds, and gold. And the best way to get all of those is some good old-fashioned spelunking. While I'm down here, I'm hoping I can find enough diamonds to make some shiny new armor. First trip, I found some resources, but not really too much. My pick was about to break, and I was level 30, so I made a staircase up to the surface. I deposited the hull and enchanted a new pick, hoping for fortune, which I was blessed with. Thank you, Mojang. It's only fortune 2, but that's still better than fortune 0. I went back into the mines and got 5 diamonds from a 4 vein. Good investment. I kept mining, got boatloads of coal, and then found 3 diamond veins in like 2 minutes. I ended the trip with a huge haul of resources and enough diamonds for some new armor, which I didn't craft for some reason. It was like the whole point of this trip. Interesting choice, I guess. I took a little break to go collect some more music discs, and after the sun rose, I decided to go make an XP farm out of skeleton spawner I'd found while I was mining earlier. I much prefer skeleton farms to zombie farms because they drop bones and arrows, which are actually useful, while zombie farms just drop mountains of rotten flesh and some occasional iron helmets. I quickly got it up and running, but it's basically at bedrock level, so I'm not really able to drop the skeletons more than 3 blocks, but hey, it works. I tested it out for a bit before I went back to the surface. I made my way over to the tree room and worked on expanding it so I can add the jungle trees and all the new wood block variants. I also added a giant swirling log as a centerpiece for the room. Nice. Next up, I wanted to work on my minecart system. I wanted to add stops for each significant location and add a rail over to the snow cabin. However, the minecarts are super janky. I kept getting sent off the bridge and almost dying whenever I tried to dismount. And also, the minecarts are just so slow. I don't even think it's faster than sprinting. I sort of got stops set up, but they're pretty sketchy. You have to like perfectly snipe this lever in order to change the tracks. You know, people, myself very much included, always talk about how the Elytra and the rest of 1.9 fundamentally changed Minecraft. But I think there's also a reason that other forms of transportation outside of maybe ice boats aren't really used anymore. Minecarts are super slow and don't really have a good way to transport items, so they don't really have much of a purpose. They're still the exact same in 1.20, and I think there's so much that could be added to minecarts to make them useful again, and not just be a fun novelty. Minecarts, I feel like, are such a classic part of the game, and I wish there was actually a good place for them other than just roller coasters. Hashtag minecart update. Weeks 3 and 4 were played on 1.4, the very scary update. It added the wither, mob heads, witches, and carrots and potatoes. This update also fixed the way that logs are placed, so basically it's the best update of all time. Week 3. To start off the week, I went over to the plains to find some chickens. They're now attracted to seeds in this version, so I can lure them without having all the animals in the world try and follow me as well. I spent a little over a day walking them back home, over the river and through the woods. When I got back to base, I made a little coop for them next to the barn with a yard. Now I'll have some eggs. Afterwards, I collected some more music discs and made a watermelon and pumpkin patch. I was trying to add these little scarecrows in between the rows, but I'm not allowed to place jack-o'-lanterns on fences yet, so I just had to put them on the ground. I got a full harvest of wheat, which is always nice. Then I got an idea for my next building. I want to make a big nether portal with a fake nether behind it. I know it's been done a million times, even in the same world I have one in the ravine town, but I still like it. I think it's a really cool design. And oh yeah, here's your daily reminder never to dig straight down. I went back up to the surface and got to work. Here we go, I got it finished, now it's time to light the portal. Bruh. Well, okay then, I guess I'll have to settle for this little dinky one for now. Time to get rid of the old one and check if it works. Nice. I did some more chores around the base and found out that pumpkins don't grow on gravel. Fixed that, and then I went to go farm some trees. Next, I headed over to the zombie spawner in order to get some new tools and also hopefully get a carrot and a potato. I ended up getting both the crops I needed, but when I went to go enchant my sword, I got Bane of Arthropods. Again. I just want some looting for Wither Skulls, not this Web Slayer 9000 Part 2. It's the dumbest enchantment ever. On a better note, I did find a super axe I had forgotten about in my diamond tool graveyard chest, so that's a nice surprise. I made some item frames and used them to display the map, as well as that rare dungeon cocoa bean from 1.0. Although, I'm really running out of room in these chests. I need to make myself a proper house with storage and furnaces. I know I just spent multiple weeks building a giant hotel, but for some reason, I don't want to live there. It's for the friends that never play in the world, I guess. For now, I ended off the week by making some flower pots, breeding the dogs, doing some lighting, and making a giant rainbow over the lake. It's way too big, but hey, it's there now. Also, I'm not gay. I just like rainbows, okay? Just making that clear. Week 4. To start off the week, I cleaned up the swamp on the west side of my wall. I kept running through there whenever I wanted to farm music discs, and I would always get molested by all the mobs back there. I think that because the base is all lit up, all the monsters are forced to spawn in this little strip of land, which I have to run through. I lit everything up, cleared the trees, and flattened the land, and then I added a little path over to the lake. It's not very pretty, but it's not supposed to be. It's just supposed to be safe. Afterwards, I went for a little mining trip. I got enough coal to become a billionaire in the 1800s and also snagged myself some diamonds. I also stumbled upon a spider spawner with another rare dungeon cocoa bean. I saved the coordinates, but realistically, I'm never going to be back here. I've never really seen the point of a spider farm. They need to be a lot more complicated, I think, because the spiders can climb walls, and for what? String? I've never needed that amount of string ever. I went back home to empty my inventory and also enchant, and I got a looting sword. Nice. Now I can farm wither skulls whenever I'm ready. I went back into the mines, coming out with even more coal and diamonds. Once again, I'm running out of storage, and I have too much coal and not enough chests. So I decided that today was the day I'll start working on the house. I went up on top of my castle to pick out a space to build. Maybe I'll build on the hill over by that lake. Maybe I'll build a volcano on the lake and put the house on top of it. I don't know. Eventually I decided I was going to keep it simple and build it next to the wheat farm in order to fill out the empty space inside my walls. I wanted to have storage, furnaces, a living room, a brewing area, and a nice bedroom. But I don't know what kind of blocks, what palette, what shape I even wanted to have it yet. So I did some chores around the base until I got my inspiration. Then I started building. I constructed a stone foundation and built a garden that wraps around the back of the house. I love putting greenery in my builds, it's so pretty. Alright, I got my chest set up, and now it's time for the grand item migration that everyone has at least one point in their worlds. I gotta move everything from up on my castle down here. Let's get to work. Alright, look at that. It's been like an hour for me, but 0 seconds for you. How nice of me. Everything's put away neatly and organized. Alright, so I've made some nice progress, but all this relaxing building has got me itching for some action. So I'm gonna head in the nether and try to farm some wither skulls. I made my way through the portal and over to the fortress, which was super dead. There were no blazes or skeletons anywhere. I checked, I'm not peaceful. Where is everyone? I eventually found a couple of skeletons, but nothing is really spawning here. So to avoid wasting time, I went back home. And then I started back up on the house. The first floor has come along really nicely, and now it's time to add a second floor. I'm going to try to use some birch wood, but that might be a mistake. We'll see. Alright, I don't really like it. I'm still a firm birch hater, but it's going to stay there. At least I gave it a chance. Alright, so I got this potion brewing room set up. I got some rainbow wool on the walls. We got netherwort, water, and potion ingredients, and everything you really need to brew. I also saved the first potion I brewed in this world inside this item frame on the wall. I got to work on the rest of the second floor, adding a kitchen. I've been trying to challenge myself to use different blocks than I usually do, but there's something so nice about just a simple spruce room like this. Alright, I've got a cute little kitchen set up, and now it's time to make a bedroom. Nice. Now that the house was done, I had completed my goals for this week, so I was free to work on some side quests. One of which was making a blacksmith type area to store my gear and some furnaces. After that was complete, to end off the month I used my potion room to do some brewing, and I made as many potions as I could think of. And finally, I went to my bed atop my new house and watched the moon set for March on 1 Year, 1 World.